Alright guys, this is Cody's Bait and Tackle, Warsaw, Missouri. I mentioned I'd do a video on how to tape a shad net. I haven't been fishing this week because it's hunting season, or it's rifle season. We killed most of our deer early, so I'm back in the shop now of the morning, and then working on our little cabin later in the day. I'm going to show you a video here. I'm using a Mako 8-foot, half-inch mesh net. That's pretty much all I throw year round. Either the Mako or the Betts Old Salt. Either one of them, they're both really good nets. Both run right around 80 bucks a piece for the 8-foot, half-inch mesh. A lot of people want the bigger mesh during the winter time. I use a ton of the small shad, and during the spring I use some of them smaller shad for hybrid fishing as well. So I like to keep some of them small ones in my net. Some people don't, but sometimes they'll hit them better than big shad. So I'm going to get this net here unwrapped. Some people think that the Makos are a little bit too stiff. You can take this net and put it in a 5-gallon bucket with a little bit of fabric softener, and it will soften this net right up to where it's just as soft as Old Salt. Problem with that is you don't want to leave it in there too long, or it will weaken your net. See, they're pretty springy. I like that. I think it actually helps it open up a little bit better sometimes. I will throw mine in fabric softener, usually just for an hour or two. Softens it up some. This net's pretty cold right now too, is in our back room, so that's another reason why it might be a little bit difficult to work with this morning. That'd be just fine. What I do, I just find me a good starting point, and you can if you got room, lay it out on the ground. Works really easy. I'm using white Gorilla Tape. I've never used white before. I usually try to use a darker color, but I think that water temperature is going to be dropping enough. Them shad are going to be moving slow, and that white won't spook them too bad. This stuff's really sticky, and the reason why I'm going to try this, it don't stiffen up like regular duct tape does. It stays pretty flexible. I'm trying to make all of them about the same size there. What I'm going to do, I'm going to flip that one upside down. You want to make sure you do not get your leads in this net. If you tape your leads, your net is not going to open. You want to make sure you get that as evenly as you can get it. And just like that right there, just double side that. There's a lead right there. I'm going to have to go in behind on this next one. So this one here is going to be just a little bit trickier. I'm cutting these about probably 10-inch pieces. I wouldn't say a foot piece. And then I do about the same distance with no tape. That just kind of, you can go all the way around it, but you're not doing much better. You're just slowing it down a little bit more. Basically, you just need something to help hold this net open as it sinks. That's all you're doing. And that don't take much. I've been taping nets like this for probably 10 years. I've bought a couple deep hole nets. You lose them just the same. If you're gonna fish enough, especially people that don't get to fish all the time, that don't quite know where they can throw and where they can't throw, they're really gonna lose a lot of nets. So I've done really good this year. I've only lost 2 nets all year, so that's kind of, and last year was about the same, and I say that and I'll lose this net the first throw. Sometimes that deeper water, you find some brush you didn't know was there. A lot of the time, this time of year, I'll catch my bait in 30, 40 foot of water on bottom. That bait is just almost impossible to catch. Sometimes right above the dam here on Truman, them shad will school up off that bluff. And they'll be out there in like 70 foot of water, suspended down 40, 50 foot. And then they're really, really hard to catch. I mean, you're not going to catch hardly any without a tape net. So, I just kind of go around, all the way around this net. And if you got somebody to help you cut the tape and all that, it's a little bit easier. Jessica usually helps me with this. I usually tape a new net every winter. By the end of winter, it's getting some holes in it, and you catch some catfish and catch some buffalo and gar and stuff like that. That's really hard on nets. Not so much getting it hung up, but usually it's catching fish that tears my nets up. Fish that aren't supposed to be in a shad net. Spoonbill are absolutely horrible on a shad net. They're real good at putting their bill right through the net. So I made that one a little bit longer, but it don't matter. Just as long as you're pretty close to the same all the way around, you're good. I will talk a little bit about the fish patterns, kind of what I'm going to look for. I haven't fished since last Thursday. Been busy chasing deer. I will be fishing Friday. First thing I'm going to look for is some of them fish that I was catching shallow, that more active fish. Them fish should have pushed deeper on the main lake. I will go look, try to find where they schooled up at. They're probably schooled up right with a ton of bait. I hope there's some bait there, but not a ton. With that water temperature being on the drop big time right now, I would say it's probably dropped 10 degrees or pretty close to it since I've been off the water. That should make them fish school up a little bit better than they was. I haven't talked to anybody at all this week. I haven't been in the shop hardly at all. And really the shop's dead as can be. There hasn't been nobody in here to talk to on fishing wise. So I don't have a whole lot of a fishing report for this last few days. The end of last week was really good. I mean, we caught lots of fish. Didn't have nothing big like we should have, but I think there's just so much bait. Them big fish are feeding up and staying full and lazy, and just aren't doing a whole lot right now. That'll change though. That water temperature starts dropping some more. Them bigger fish, they will turn back on. I know there's been some bigger fish caught up on the upper end of the lake on the Grand Arm. That area it's just got a lot more big fish than the rest of the lake does. Don't know why, more fertile water or something like that. Something making them fish grow a little bit better up there, or maybe it's just because it's easier to catch them because it's shallow water. We really don't know, but there's a lot more bigger fish up there than the rest of the lake, it seems. But you guys kind of see what I'm doing and see how to do it. Just like I said, make sure you don't get them leads under that tape. I've had several people I've told how to do this, and then they get back with me and say, well, my net won't close up now. Well, did you tape your leads down to your net? Well, I don't know. Well, that's what was wrong. So you just kind of got to be careful with it. Go slow. Don't try to get it done as quick as you can. Make sure you get it even and right. and you know, you're saving $100 on a net by doing this instead of actually paying for a deep hole net that's just going to get tore up. It takes a little bit of time, but you guys see how fast I'm moving along on it. I've already got over half of this net done, and I ain't been at it very long, so that's really about all I got this morning. Crappie, you know, I'm sure they're really starting to school up good off these bluffs, the brush piles, chasing the bait clouds. I've seen lots and lots of crappie out suspended just in bait clouds last week when I was on the water. If somebody likes spider rigging, you know, that's the funnest way to catch them, I think, when they're doing that scattered out stuff. You can get in there and just drift through them with jigs or live scope them too, but when they're just scattered out in that big open water, that spider rigging does a lot of good. Which that's just about a thing of the past. You don't see nobody doing it anymore since live scope come out. I usually don't do it until late December, January, February. I'll get out my spider rigging rods and catch a few. I don't have a lot of time to crappie fish, so, and I don't run live scope. I don't run any updated electronics really. Live scope would come in really good for finding shad, but as long as I can catch shad year round without really struggling too bad, I'm not going to spend that kind of money on catching bait. I might run out of tape here. This does take a pretty good roll of tape to do too. You almost need a full roll. But I'll have enough oil pieces behind me to do one piece when I get done here, I think. You'll notice when it does get cold, sometimes you'll have to dip that net in the water and get that tape warmed up just a little bit. That way it's a little bit more flexible if you use regular duct tape. Like I said, this Gorilla tape, I'm hoping it's a little bit more, when it gets cold it don't stiffen up quite as bad, so I am hoping this stuff does a little bit different. But a lot of nets are stiff when it's real cold out anyways, so it don't matter too much. But that's about it. I'll show you guys kind of up close what I got going on here. I got a little over half of it done. There's what you got. Some spaces, I put about 8 inches in between, and then about a foot of tape. So hopefully this is some of you guys that wintertime fish that really struggle catching bait. Hopefully that helps you out. That's about all I got for you this morning. I appreciate it, y'all. Have a good one.